And maybe it's time to start the episode, Grant,
Oh,
where we start discussing who's going to be our third, because there's just two of us again tonight on a preview episode, and I don't know if you've noticed the trend, but this is 3 in a row.
yeah. I mean, what is this saying about trends? Like two's a coincidence, three's a trend.
Yeah, I
Nothing like
believe
that.
that's the case.
I don't know. I will defend. Kevin's got a job. I mean,
I think you're
he's got
uh,
his job's hours are a little more
sure.
all over the place than the two of us, but
Mhm.
it's is what it is. Someone needs an ankle out there. I'm not going to tell someone that they can't receive an ankle because Kevin has to come on here and share his bets with us. I'm not going to be that person.
I'm fully in the mindset of this is the Kluver and G-Bone show. That's the podcast.
Well, that's taglines. That's what we have that already. That exists.
Right. No. I'm saying this operation in general. It's like it's moving in that direction. I think you still are holding out hopes that Drake comes back, which there probably a lot of people are.
I will. What is it? October 30th.
Do you think?
I will say firmly right now. At some point, but while this podcast exists, at some point Drake Kulik will appear on another episode.
Do you think
I will say that right now? Yes.
Do you think we could get him on for? So his fight. A lot of people were excited about that. Several people, like YouTube comments. I know sometimes you read the YouTube comments. By the way, down below, right?
Hit that bell. Hit that bell, baby.
Go bash your face right into that fucking bell. No, seriously, when you guys like the video and you leave a comment, just anything, it doesn't have to be right now. It could be 32 minutes from now. Grant and I say something. It could be in the betting segment. What a dumb pick, Kluver. What a stupid, dumb, emotional betting pick. Leave that comment. I will respond back. I respond to every comment. That engagement helps our channel.
Sometimes you responded to too many comments.
You think so?
I don't know if a full argument is worth.
It's never an argument. It's always
sometimes, but
it's always cordial discussion.
I don't know about that. I don't know if you do whatever you want. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I do not. I do not run the comment section on the YouTube channel.
No, you don't. I do.
This conversation.
Anyway,
we're on Twitter for that matter as well.
Always cordial. Do you think we could get Drake on? So his fight is
November 16th.
So that would be not this Saturday, 2 weeks from this Saturday.
Yes.
2 weeks from the Iowa Hawkeyes playing the Wisconsin Badgers, Drake will be fighting in some random warehouse in Laughlin, Nevada.
Beautiful Laughlin, Nevada.
Do you think not next week, but the week after, he'll make an appearance on Taglines? To preview his fight.
To preview his fight?
Or do you think he would come on after to give us a recap?
I think if he wins, the chances are better for a recap.
Sure.
But I'd say I don't think it's a non-zero chance he would show up to talk about his fight on Taglines.
Yeah. We might have to promo that, see if we
I do believe Drake. I will be watching. If there's a way to wager on it, I will find a way. It might just I have to invent a book in order to wager on the fight. But
I was going to say you're going to have to get
him. Yes.
You're going to have to get boots on the ground in Laughlin, Nevada, and do some digging if you want to place a wager on it. But he claims there will be a stream, and we will pump the stream out on our channels and in our Discord, Patreon. So,
no, I'm excited for Drake. This has been he's been looking to do a professional fight like this for a while. There's been a lot of almost getting it done and people dropping out. So hopefully
he quite literally
this one actually happens, but apparently should be good.
He quite literally has had 4 or 5 guys where he's texted the group and said, "Hey, boys, I got a date. This is where we're doing it. I'm fighting this guy here." And then a couple weeks later, guy pulls out like 4 times in a row. And so hopefully this guy stays committed and the fight happens. Did you see this, Grant?
No, I have not seen it. Wait, what is that? What does that even say?
Russian court has fined Google.
Oh yeah,
$2.5 decillion.
I saw it's more than the estimated GDP of the entire world. So they fined Google for more money that exists.
And it's real.
Yeah, I don't know if it might be like an older release now. Like they probably have a new statement on it because it's Google. But I saw
Sure.
when I saw the initial report of this, the statement from Google was like, "We have an ongoing legal battle with Russia." Just not like a specific person, just Russia in
It's
general.
a country.
And it was ongoing, like it's some little legal dispute with a local family. So no, you're getting you're getting sued for more money than there exists.
Yeah.
It's,
I thought that was hilarious.
that is funny. That I did not expect you to bring that up today, though.
You didn't think that that would make the show today?
No, not even a little bit. But
Did you think
it is a funny concept to get sued for more money than
did
it
you
is.
think that the alternate uniforms, maybe not alternate uniforms, but the all black uniforms would make an appearance?
Yeah, but did they really make an appearance on Twitter either? I mean, they kind
No,
of teased it. You got
you
like a
tell me.
shadow. Yeah, I mean, it's like you watch this video and tell me this is the best look at them.
I'd say
It
it's a
is.
good look. They're not trying to give it away, man.
I know, but you're saying they made an appearance. Like I don't think anyone's really seen them.
So here's the deal. I think they're just busting out the black pants that they wear. That is the matching bottom to the top. That is
Sure.
their,
Hmm.
their always home jersey. So
Yeah.
it's nothing exciting. It's like when I believe they did this when Goodson through 2021, or did he leave after the 2020 season?
He was in 2021.
Okay, I
Yeah,
believe in 2021 they did a blackout.
they did.
Was
Yeah.
it the was it the Penn State game?
Well, no, this was the game we were talking about on taglines with Alex Padilla at
Oh,
QB. It
uh,
was great. No,
yeah,
it was an awesome time.
and I remember him, and I think it's just the same all black uni that they did
Yeah.
that game. So
Well, I like that as well. Here's my question though.
sure,
And this is I like Iowa's uniforms. This is not a criticism, but uh you some of Iowa's best games, best memories take place in these custom all black uniforms, right? Like
yep,
on screen right there. Both of them,
yeah, this
right?
guy right here,
You wore both of these uniforms. Great
yep,
uniforms,
this one, and of course this one.
right? They saw
Some
just these historic moments for the Iowa football program in these uniforms, and they decided let's never wear those ever again.
Okay, yep. So
And then on the other side, though, the all gold uniforms
mhm.
have only been historic disasters, and we've ran those out a few times. Like
We
what is this? What is the like? I know you're not like a whole like like ungame related things impacted the game, but numbers we're looking at here, right? this
statistics.
the numbers don't lie, right? The statistics are out there.
They never do,
And I'm just presenting them. I'm presenting them without comment.
and I'm glad you did. The numbers will make their case.
Mhm.
We could probably get an answer. We could get a cold hard answer on this because I got, two of the guys I would like to bring on this show, and I think this offseason would be a perfect time to do it. Would be, God, I think his title is now like GM of football. Tyler Barnes
Okay.
was recruiting coordinator. Now I think that just falls under the title of GM. Um, Crazy that
Sure.
college footballs now have a GM position, but I get it. That's where it's
Mhm.
going. And then Ben Hansen, which is
Okay.
assistant director of football ops, I think.
Sure.
I don't know if Federici is like the official direct. I don't know what his official title is, but Ben and Tyler both had I want to say a decent hand in the jerseys that we would potentially be doing in the following seasons to come. And they would gather input. I kind of wish they gathered more input from the players, and maybe they do. Back when we did it, we did not. Maybe other than like, I mean, they would grab Josie and Josh Jackson. I think when we did when we busted out those uniforms for Ohio State, they grabbed those guys for the highlight video. But I don't think in the design process they ever took in like player opinion.
Okay.
I think maybe that's a miss, but I think we could get both those guys on this podcast. They would be great shows by themselves, but then on top of that bonus info, we would get alternate uniform inside
Discussion. Yeah.
insight. Yeah.
And
Um,
I do, with respect to Iowa, sometimes I think programs get a little too cute with the alternate uniforms.
I
And
agree.
I'd say for the most part, we just slightly change the classic look of Iowa. And I think that's smart.
Hmm. Now, how do you feel about the potential of an all white uniform?
I think for Iowa, I
It's
don't
it's
like it.
wrong. For Iowa, it's wrong.
Well, I mean, I'm sure whoever's designing the uniforms. Sorry about that. Got some dog bark.
No, it's okay.
I think for Iowa, we are let's do the all black uniform is our move.
Sure.
Like I think going all white is just I don't know. I don't think that's something we do with uniforms. I don't know.
I think you could do it correctly. I think you know what would be really sick
Okay.
is like a dark, like a slate gray with like a black and gold accents and numbers. I think that would be
I'd have to say, I'll be honest. Usually, I'm anti gray uniforms.
okay.
But here's my other thing too:
Is there any way we could get, let's just do the decal thing like Western Kentucky? Could we get Herky playing each position as the logo, as the decal for on the helmet?
I would love that. I think I said on the last podcast that I just like the Tiger Hawk. Like that's my one thing is just don't touch it.
Okay.
But I could see, I would, if I saw the mock-ups, I would. I'm watching right now Western Kentucky playing Kennesaw State in their all black uniforms.
Yes.
And this reminds me too that if we're picking some stuff, it's so hard to mess up all black.
It really is. Yeah.
Like it is so hard to do it. But I've seen sometimes people run out other color rush styles, and it's not very good.
That's why Iowa State wears black for half their games every year.
Yeah, I think that was like Anna Wintour's quote was that she said, when it comes to college football uniforms, just always go all black.
I think that's a joke, and I also don't know who you're talking about.
That's she's like Vogue magazine, the Met Gala.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think Caitlin Clark was just on Vogue, the cover of Vogue.
But it hit you on the way home. I don't know if that's true or not, but I believe it.
It's like most influential women of the year or something like that. And
I believe it.
I think Caitlin was on there. It might not have been Vogue. It might have been something else. Anyway,
she's probably
So if you haven't caught it, 12 minutes into the podcast, it's Gary and me tonight. We're going to talk about some other stuff, and then we'll get to Hawkeye football. We'll preview the game a little bit. You know what's going to happen before the game, Grant? The toolbox.
Oh, the toolbox. I had a friend who was a manager, no longer, but it was kind of cool talking to him about how fired up the boys get for the toolbox. Like this means something. This ain't a joke. All right, this ain't your daddy's manager flag football game. All right, this one means something.
This one means a lot. And if I could share the correct screen to get this full, there we go. If you're watching the YouTube, this deserves a comment or a like below. Been talking with my guy. We were really trying, and I know we talked about it way out before. We were trying in hopes to get me and Kevin there to broadcast this thing and live stream it. Unfortunately, due to some circumstances that we can't control, that's not going to happen for this year. Maybe in 2 years, who knows? Elio, is it Celentino? Probably, with the way that's spelled. That's Celentino. He is the head manager, I believe. And he sent me this. This is their graphic for the Toolbox game. This Toolbox game is going to be taking place at 8 p.m. on Friday, November 1st. So as you hear this on Thursday, maybe Wednesday if you're part of the Patreon, Thursday and Friday, dip over to the Hanson Performance football facility. 8 p.m. Go catch yourself one of the most electric pieces of college football that you could see. This game is literally electric. It was the most fun thing that me and Kevin have been to in a long, long time when we went 2 years ago. I think Iowa has dominated as of late.
That's what I want to hear. There we go.
And looks like we got a couple studs on that team right there.
Yeah.
So I hope we got a quarterback. That's usually.
I gotta imagine that a lot of managers at one point played football as well.
I would say most of them played high school football for sure.
Okay, so there's probably a couple boys who are fresh off running routes. Can't be that long for a few of them,
right? And they run around a lot at practice, so they're decently conditioned. They practice for this all year long.
Oh, they're running. They're doing plays.
The couple weeks leading up to the Wisconsin week, these boys are out there before and after practice, putting in work, installing the playbook, getting chemistry, timing down on routes. I'm not joking.
I love it. No, I like that it's serious. Like it's not a joke.
No, not at all.
It's like when I did intramural flag football, it was kind of like, you're not really trying. It's like, okay, like some people do go all out, right? But it's kind of like unwritten rule of like, okay, we're not trying to. We all got class in the morning. We're not trying to get hurt. But the Wisconsin Toolbox game means something. Now, do they do this with every team? Is there a manager exhibition?
There's not.
There's not. Okay.
There used to be. Don't quote me on this. Actually, quote me on this. I'm just going to preface it with I think I'm probably wrong in some sense. I'm pretty sure at some point they tried to do it with Iowa State. I think people got hurt like several years in a row pretty bad.
Ooh.
So Iowa State was like, no, we're done.
Yeah. No, you definitely don't want anyone getting hurt.
Now, this could also be Nebraska. It could be Iowa State or Nebraska. That is the reason they stopped the series with one of them. It could be both of them. At one point, they were definitely playing 2 manager games per year. I know my freshman year, there was a manager named, I think his name was Aaron, fully blown ACL in the game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because that probably takes him out from doing some of his manager stuff
A
for
lot
the rest
of
of the year. Yeah. Does he pop up on the IR in the press conference like, hey, so you guys know our manager? He's also out ACL.
I think KF should. Yeah, I think the week of the Toolbox game, you need to disclose the Toolbox relevant injuries.
Well, that'd be fun too if he was just like, hey, it's a big game on Friday night. Toolbox. They look good in practice.
I wish he did promote it. I really do.
So is developing a little bit. It's not like he doesn't know about it or something. It's not like it's a manager secret.
Definitely knows about it.
Does he go? Does he attend? He should.
I doubt it.
What?
It's usually happening. Coach? I know for a fact he doesn't because it happens during the meetings at the hotel, which he is a part
of. Really? The head coach is part of the meetings?
Well, I mean, he's not a part of every meeting, but those meetings he is a part of.
Yeah, can we move the meetings? Come on, coach. It's one Friday a year.
I do think it would be funny for him to mention it, like cool for them to mention it. And if you're in town, if you're in the area, if you're coming to the game or you've come into town early for this Wisconsin football game, 8 p.m. at the Hanson Football Performance Facility.
Is there a Wisconsin podcast out there we can do a mayor's bet with?
Can we get a?
We'll wager one. I'll pay for a to-go Chipotle order with another.
I could call
Wisconsin podcast.
I could call Josie and get him to put up one of his turkeys, and it could be like it could be like the pig, and we'll just start a turkey game.
But then we have to make sure that the Wisconsin podcast that we don't even know about yet
can also offer a turkey.
Yeah, we can't just be like, oh, we have a turkey, and they're like, we'll have $200. Maybe.
Chipotle bowl might be.
I will pay one Chipotle. I'll pay for a Chipotle burrito.
Yeah, and then it can forever be memorialized as like a golden burrito.
It's the burrito game, burrito bowl.
I think that actually, there's maybe an idea there.
Let me know if you know a Wisconsin podcast. Send them to me.
Yeah. Other things happening tonight. I think as we speak right now, there is a. I see a 1 minute ago update from Iowa women's basketball. Missouri Western's in town. Exhibition game tonight.
The Fightins. Yeah, big one.
Fightins?
I don't know. Fighting Missouri Westerns, whatever they are.
Oh.
Assuming some kind of maybe a wildcat or a bear potentially.
It looks like I can't tell. Is it a squirrel? I don't know.
Oh, that'd be sick, actually. The squirrels. You don't see enough of the squirrels out there.
Hold on. Missouri.
I hope the Missouri Western Meerkats.
Well, they're the Griffins. Yeah, in a very small.
How did you confuse a griffin with a squirrel?
It is. I've got the entire screen. I'm just looking at.
Is just so different than a squirrel. What?
If you knew how big. If you knew how big the logo was on my screen on the side here, it's about 1/4 inch. So the entire logo is 1/4 inch, and
Griffin is cool though.
The Griffin's very cool.
The
Hawks are already up. They've already doubled them up. It's like 22-11 or something like that as I look at this. So
did you see, this is the only time it could ever come up. Did you see the secret scrimmage results from Michigan State's women's team earlier this week?
No, did they beat like the School of the Blind by 400 points or something?
School of the Blind might be a little bit of an insult to this team. I don't know if Michigan State women's basketball is just really good this year or not, but I believe the halftime score was something like 55-5.
Oh my God.
Just seeing a 5 at halftime is just so funny. Like, unedited.
That was a pretty common thing for the Marshalltown girls back in my day.
Oh, well, you see, they were just trying to enjoy the show, and you're just throwing a diss at them.
I don't see Michigan State in the top 25 of the preseason rankings. So,
jeez.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
Iowa,
that was a real
also
score.
not. Iowa State at 8 in the preseason poll. Iowa not in there, which I think is a good thing. I think you want to start a little bit overlooked.
That's how I feel for every Iowa sport. I wanna climb throughout the season. Yeah. I want everyone to think we can't do it.
Over deliver. Over deliver. Grant, it's going to be Halloween on the day this podcast comes out to the public.
Happy Thursday. Happy Halloween to everyone.
You dressing up this year?
Well, here's you want a little dip into Grant's social life. Is that my friends want to go out Friday?
Okay. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, you're 22.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with
Friday.
Lad. Nothing wrong with going out on a Friday at all. But they were like, "What are we going to do costumes?" I was like, "Well, Friday would be November 1st." Which I don't get me wrong, have fun, do whatever. But part of me is concerned that they want to roll up in costumes and no one's going to be wearing costumes because it's not October anymore.
Well, but with the actual date of Halloween on a Thursday, do you actually not think that people are going to use that following weekend, even though it's November, as the main weekend that they go out in costumes? I mean, when we were in college,
that would be last weekend though. Halloween weekend was last weekend,
dude. In when we were at Iowa, people would go out in costumes for like 3 weeks in a row.
I mean, I just did this as well, but usually I didn't see a lot of post-Halloween costumes. Is all I'm saying. Like once it's in November,
well, maybe we get you that turkey costume then in preparation for Thanksgiving later in the month.
Maybe. You know what I've been doing was because I always never had a costume in time in school. Right. I'd been running out. I'm looking at it over here. Do you remember those Iowa pork aprons?
Yeah.
I'd been running out chef for nightly.
Just the easiest costume there is.
Yeah, it was just which is great too because I could wear a hoodie, be warm still. Because the first night of like Halloween ever I did at Iowa, I didn't have a costume. My buddies wanted to go out. I was like, what do I do? So I looked up last minute and I went as like I had these yellow notepads or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, you could just do guest on The Price is Right because big yellow name tags.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything else to do. I did that. And I go out and one of the first dudes I see is one of my friends. He's like, I was like, oh, I don't know if anyone's going to recognize my costume. He comes out to me unprompted. He's like, dude, Price is Right? And I was like, yes, you get it. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a great night. He's the only person that got it at all
night. Hey, but at least he got you off. He got you onto a high note to start the night, right?
It's the only. I was getting like lectured by girls at the bar.
Yeah.
Like, this is a pathetic display. Maybe try it next year. I was like, well, you could just enjoy your night without doing this. Like,
Kevin and I went as doctors, surgeons one year.
Great. Easy one. I think I wore scrubs 4 different times in high school. Halloween parties.
Yeah, scrubs are an easy one. It's a cheap one. I believe we went and got like fake stethoscopes, and just an easy one. It's comfy.
Yeah, again, you could throw a hoodie under it if you have to.
The wrong Halloween costume can make your night very long.
Yes.
Example: I once the following year after that Kevin and I were surgeons, I went as a Pokemon.
Which one?
I got a Pokemon onesie. Umbreon. Umbreon.
Well, the onesie should be easy though.
It is. It was great for me. I ordered the correct size, right?
Mm-hmm.
The following weekend, Ike was going out. He needed a costume. He had seen me in the Pokemon costume the week before. He wore Ike Butker, 6'5", 315 pounds, wore a costume that was ordered for Tyler Kluver, 5'8", 215 pounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, just quick, I'm not usually a math guy, but Ike and Kluver, not same size.
100-pound difference, 7 inches. he was skin tight in that thing. It
Yeah,
was
it's not good.
plastered to his body, and
Ugh.
I don't know if you know Ike, but you get him in a crowded bar,
It's probably not his ideal spot.
he's sweating a lot,
Yeah.
profusely.
Mhm.
He was in a soaked Pokemon onesie for 2 to 3
Ugh.
hours plus by the
Ugh.
end of that night, and, really what a trooper he was. Now, if I had to guess, I thought this is where you were gonna go.
Okay.
I thought that maybe a great costume for you right now would be the Hilltopper.
Oh, just Big Red?
Big Red.
I don't know where they sell those, but I would love that. They're also the college football one this year is you can be the Pop-Tart from the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Really?
You can just buy that costume now, which I was considering getting that. I think they ran it out in like August, and I was already in the market for it.
Oh, man.
It's like I just have to own this. I
Uh,
might never wear it, but I could just like I don't know. It's maybe I could convert it
could be
into a quilt or something.
could be useful in other areas. When you search Big Red Halloween costume, um, it just comes up with Clifford the Big Red Dog, but which is also another good
I
one.
respect that as well.
Yeah,
I was a
but
big Clifford guy.
if you showed up to the bar in this, you know,
And there'd be
it
one other college football sicko who'd be like, "Yes,
they'd be like,
dude!
Big Red!
Oh my god!"
That's so sick."
Yeah, that would be. He's Big Red is my favorite. I saw there was. I think it was Dave Portner was tweeting out. When Indiana was hosting Nebraska a couple weeks ago, and Indiana apparently has shirts that say "Go Big Red"
I saw that.
as well. And he was, tweeting at Will Compton like, "Hey, who's the real Big Red in college football?"
Right.
It's like, well, David,
David.
it's neither of those teams. It's actually in Western Kentucky with the Hilltoppers. That's the real Big Red as their mascot.
Correct. I
It's a lot. It's a lot of Western Kentucky talk for an Iowa football podcast. But
know, we need it. We need it. This is what we needed.
okay.
Could just go with Caleb Johnson.
And how would I go about doing that?
Just get a Hawkeye football jersey, put a ball in your hand, and just Heisman everybody you see.
That could get. I'm not a big props person.
You don't like props
for Halloween. It's just not practical. If for a photo shoot, sure. But do you really want to be carrying around like a pitchfork all day, or do you want to be carrying around some sort of inflatable?
Do you think they'd let you into the bar with a pitchfork?
In Iowa City, yes,
okay.
I do think they would.
Nice.
But you know what I mean. Like I don't want to carry I don't want to carry around a football all day.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm out. I'd lose it 100%. Or people are going to try and strip it from you, fumble, come pass me the ball, man. It'll be an issue.
We are, we're going to play the Wisconsin Badgers.
We are.
This weekend.
Yes.
You have any big concerns or questions going into this weekend? There's,
questions. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I've had questions circled around Wisconsin pretty much ever since
my entire life.
Yeah, ever since Van Dyke got hurt this year, because I feel like there was so much tape on Tyler Van Dyke just throughout his years with Miami. Kind of knew what you were getting, but this new quarterback, I mean, I feel like he goes all over the place. He threw just one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my entire life against Penn State last week. After I thought he was, just as in terms of role playing QB, doing fine until then. And it just complete momentum shift. So that would be my biggest question is like, what are we going to get from him a little bit? Because I feel like the rest of Wisconsin is kind of, I know they're not the same identity as the Paul Christa era, but I feel like it's still, and it was the same with a lot of Fickle teams. Like
there's remnants of it.
There's still like Fickle teams have identities.
Sure.
It's not, a little bit of what you're getting.
Iowa averages 350 yards of offense per game. Obviously, a couple real down ones in there. Ohio State being the low light of that. Wisconsin, for comparison, 45 extra yards on top of that. They're sitting right at 395, so they're no barn burner. But they're competent. I think they're competent offensively. Yeah. And I think when you look at the several games, especially several of the last few games, not the Penn State game, Penn State, number 3 team in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I think they outscored their opponents like 116-17 in the previous 3 games.
Yeah.
So they can score points and they can run away from teams. Now, those previous 3 teams were, I think, like Rutgers and Purdue and I don't
Another third Big Ten
yeah,
school.
it's one
Okay.
of the other bottom schools on Grant and Tyler's power rankings of the Big
Sure.
10, 18 teams. You see what happens when they play at Penn State. Iowa's not a Penn State. In fact, Penn State, what are they averaging offensively? Penn State's up there just outside the top 10, sitting at 463 yards per game. So that's, just another level there. But I like that Iowa got back on track against Northwestern defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I think that even if you ask the Iowa players and they would give you a coach speak or a player speak answer, but like 10 years from now, if you ask them like, how about that 24 Northwestern team? They're not going to tell you much about their offense being very good. So I don't know if they're hanging their career cap on the Northwestern performance, but it doesn't matter. It's the opponent that they put out there. You play as good as you can. You held them to 180 yards. That was obviously a concern coming off of the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
And just to see the ball go through the net, so to speak, Grant, that feels good.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, either way, I mean, you can dog on the Northwesterns and of the world, right? Bottom of the conference teams, but it's still D1. It's still a solid power. It's still a Power 4 team at Division 1. Like, it's not
giving out
like,
scholarships.
yeah, like there's still athletes on that field who are solid. Like, don't get me wrong, like we're doing strength of record, strength of schedule stuff. Like that does factor in, but for just seeing what you want to see, like I don't think it's wrong to celebrate certain things.
I don't either. Tackling was better.
Sure.
Overall output, limiting output of the opposition was better. I feel like we can ride that momentum a little bit. Now, defensively, Wisconsin, pretty good ball club. They're a top 25 defensive team, along with like a lot of Iowa's opponents. Ohio State is up there. Washington is up there. Minnesota is
I
up
say
there.
Minnesota's should be sneaky up there. I saw they're in the top 10, I think, in points per game.
They are 10th in yards per game.
That might have been what it was.
I can go over to points per game here in a second. I think by the looks of it, they're probably same. Ohio State's number 2. Washington's number 6. Iowa State, Nebraska's up there like at 15th. Iowa State's like 18th. Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Iowa are like 20, 21, 22 in yards per game. So that's a lot of Iowa's schedule right there. A bunch of the teams that are relevant to this season, all given up somewhere between 200 and, the outlier Ohio State, they're like at 250. But like between Washington and Iowa, it's basically teams giving up somewhere between 275 and 200 and 315 yards a game. It's like a really good, consistent defensive efforts there. But we have swagger at quarterback.
Is that it? Your nickname for Brendan Sullivan is just Swagger?
Brendan Swagger Sullivan. QB1, literally. Number 1.
Do you could get it to a level where, like, kind of a Magic Johnson thing where people start to believe it's his actual government name?
Swagger Sullivan?
Yeah.
I think
that's swag out there.
That's swag. I'm a Big Brother fan, and like 4 or 5 years ago, there was a guy on there that was I don't know what his real name was, but they just referred to him as Swaggy C.
Swaggy C. Sounds like the most Big Brother character of all time.
Yeah, it was. Swagger Sullivan, I like it. I think he could pull it off with the look he has. He's tatted up. He's a little scruffy with the beard and some messy hair sometimes. Like I think he could pull off Swagger. Wisconsin's going to have to game plan now for more than just Cade standing in the pocket and some of the wrinkles that Tim Lester has presented defenses this year with that are new to Iowa's scheme relative to the old, maybe less, let's call it less diverse system that Brian Ferentz was running. So not only on top of Tim Lester and new offense, like they're having to deal with a lot more motion than they normally do. A lot of this game prep, Grant, not all of it, but a decent amount of it. When you play the same teams year over year, you kind of use you're like, okay, we've seen this before. We know who Iowa is. We know who, and to some extent, Iowa is trying to be like, hey, we're trying to establish the run. We want Caleb Johnson and company to have about 200 plus rushing yards a game. We'd love
Oh
that.
yeah, that'd be great. I'll sign up for that.
Rush defense, by the way, rush yards per game. I think Wisconsin is not very good.
Mm.
Total yards per game, they're pretty damn good.
Okay.
Rush yards per game, they are giving up 160 a game. So we might be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, happens to the best of us, but I do. That is what I want to hear when we got a guy like Caleb Johnson. I want to hear that they're not doing very good against rushing.
And Caleb Lister, probably, he's probably in the elite of the elite walk-on Army members.
Mm-hmm.
He commented on a YouTube video today of me and Eicholt's podcast from earlier. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen. Always a good one. He said something like he went and listened to Fickle's weekly presser. Same thing that I go and watch KF do, and then we talk about it with Eicholt. He went and listened to Fickle's. And earlier in the year, I guess, Fickle was asked or had expressed concerns about them stopping sort of the outside. Well, I could just find it actually on the.
Just take your time. You got it.
Well, I just want to get it right,
Yeah, I should start doing that. I should go listen to the opposing press conference as well. Might be a good idea.
He said there was an interesting tidbit from Fickle's presser this week. I guess he expressed concerns defending against the stretch run earlier this year. When asked directly about their progress of this during the presser this week, his immediate response was, "We'll find out Saturday." Sounds like a not confident guy to me. Sounds like a guy who might be a little bit worried.
We'll find out. He didn't even say, "Oh, well, we're doing better."
About KJ running down their throats.
Yeah, I would be. Well, to be fair, even if I feel like they could be doing better, but just the way we've been able to run the ball and we've been able to get Caleb some good stats here, it's probably like, yeah, I mean, they could be getting better at it, but it just might be difficult against Caleb.
It might not look like it versus us.
Yeah.
And in our world, hopefully that's the case. I will say this. Now every team on the schedule is going to look at the Michigan State tape. That's where they're going.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're saying, okay, what on earth did this like middle of the road Michigan State Spartan team do to absolutely throw Iowa off kilter?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Wisconsin's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, and this could be just a compliment to Childs, but I don't think LaCrue. I don't think he is
not the same guy.
Yeah, he's not as slippery. He's not as.
And this is their backup quarterback. They're actually on their number 2 for the year as well.
I say, was it LaCrue or Locke? I know they got both of those on the roster. I can't remember which one was actually.
But didn't they have their quarterback go out for the season earlier this year?
That was Tyler Van Dyke, who I was referring to earlier. It's like you kind of like it was like his 9th year of college football. You kind of what you're going to get a little bit with him.
We need some turnovers, Grant. We need the Doughboys to eat a little bit here. We need like 2 or 3 picks. We haven't had that game yet this year where you're like,
Locke, by the way, just to clarify, not LaCrue. Sure. Go on though. My apologies.
We need that signature game. We've had a couple games where we forced some turnovers, but I'm thinking like, Maryland 2021. Like we go in there and like Coop had like 2 picks. He housed one of them. I think Dane had a pick.
Is this Rutgers you're thinking of?
No, when Tagovailoa's brother, Tua's brother, threw us like 5 interceptions. We went to Maryland in like 2021.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, in 2021. Yeah, you're correct.
We need one of those games. We need like a 4-pick game where we're just all over the ball.
That would be cool. Yeah, I'll take 4 interceptions in a game. I'd say our probability of winning would be very high.
That's what I'm saying. Just like put it away.
Yeah. No, especially, I mean, Iowa, Wisconsin, historically. Again, not the Paul Chryst era anymore, but defensive battle.
It kind of feels like this is going to be. I told Eicholt this today. It feels like this might be an instant classic.
Oh.
Like it's going to come out of the wire. Look at this. Kinley's wearing her blanket like a bonnet in her crib right now.
Oh, nice.
So funny.
No, I agree. I think usually I like this game a lot as well, just as a fan, because it's so different than like maybe I'm the only person who feels this way, but Iowa Wisconsin feels so different than every other trophy game Iowa has. Because
it does for me.
Like I don't know how other people feel about it. Again, could be just me, but I don't like Wisconsin's success outside of just playing Iowa does not bother me. Like when Wisconsin goes and wins a game, or if Wisconsin has a good season, outside of the game versus Iowa, I obviously want Iowa to win, right? I'm not bothered really. Like it's just very different.
This matchup, you think of it as like in a vacuum when we get to it every year.
Yeah, because I think Iowa and Wisconsin for so long, or the majority of my football viewing experience, have been just kind of trying to accomplish the same thing. Very mirror programs for the most part. So it's like, oh, hey, you go. It's kind of not to make this political, but it's kind of like the game versus Iowa, Wisconsin. The battle for the bowl is like a primary. They kind of argue with each other in the debates and whatnot. But then when it gets to late fall,
they're on each
election,
other's
they're
side.
like, I endorse the Iowa Hawkeyes for president.
By the way, I am fucking sick and tired of the politics.
You got probably 10, 15-ish maybe days left of it.
I've been done with it for weeks, and it just is for someone who doesn't care a lick. It is just unbearable. Yeah. Are you double screening? Are you quad boxing this Jacksonville State Liberty and Kennesaw State Western Kentucky matchup?
Yeah, I got the double box going.
Love that. Right, Western Kentucky, the Hilltop. They're up big.
Yeah, but that's what we want. I'm rooting for the boys.
I don't know. I feel like this game's going to be a good one. I don't have much more to say about it. We could do some picks.
Do you feel that same way about Wisconsin though? Like in terms of the
like the respect for them?
Yeah, or like it feels like kind of mirror program.
Yes,
a little bit.
Yeah, I talked about it with. We recorded it 2 days ago, or yesterday. But for those that will listen to the 5-10-5 show, Lima and I talked about it from a strength and conditioning perspective. How the culture and sort of the grittiness of, let's call it the 20 teens, at least, there's a slightly different identity now with Wisconsin, yet to be seen what that will shape into. But Northwestern, Iowa, and Wisconsin were all sort of trying to be the same person. And over the course of our tenure and, the 20 teens, last 10 or 15 years, Wisconsin did it the best. Iowa was just behind them, and then Northwestern was behind them. But it was all the same feel of football, right? Sure. You're trying to build like discipline, just like hard-nosed, gritty, old school Big Ten football. Yeah. I would say yes. I share the sentiment. I respect the hell out of Wisconsin. It was my favorite trophy game, the one that I felt like I got up for every time I played against them, and always cheering for them when they're going up against mostly everybody else.
Yeah. I feel like it's more civil too. Like the week
it's
leading up to
more
it,
civil.
I feel like the week leading up to it on Twitter, I'm not seeing quite as much kind of banter, hate going on as like compared to, I don't know, maybe like Floyd of Rosedale.
I would say of our 4 trophy games, the shit talking between fans is between Wisconsin and Iowa fans is like levels and levels below the other 3 games. And then the other 3 are close. Probably Iowa, Nebraska at the top of that, maybe Iowa, Iowa State, and then Iowa, Minnesota, beneath that. And then Iowa, Wisconsin is like 10 levels below. Like Iowa and Wisconsin are civil. I would say you're correct.
Yeah. Here's my last kind of tidbit about the game.
Sure.
So here's how this is my Colin Cowherd impression. If you're ready for this.
Yeah.
This is how he'd be like, Iowa, Wisconsin is like an old soda bottle you pull out of your grandpa's fridge, right? Wisconsin.
That Coke bottle that you find in your grandparents' basement.
All right. This isn't your plastic twist off. This is a firm. You need the bottle cap opener. All right. This is what you're getting. And Penn State is kind of how I view it as they had Wisconsin last week. And I think we're going to finally be able to open the bottle because you got this Penn State dude who got a chance before it and was kind of like, oh, we loosened that one for you. I think the way I watched the game last week, I was like, this team is getting beat up in the second half. Like, this is taking everything from these guys. So I'm hoping a little bit. I know you don't believe in like letdown or look ahead spots, but I do believe that is going to play some sort of factor where they played a really physical team in Penn State last week. And then now they're playing Iowa, who wants to do the exact same thing, be really physical. Like, I think there's got to be some kind of wear, an emotional tear as well on that, which I like Iowa's. Yeah, I think favors Iowa, especially being at home as well.
I think so too. I would agree with that. As far as like previous games affecting, like when it comes to physicality and how beat up you are, I would say yes, that actually does matter. Now we're starting to feel that as well. I don't think Ostrenga's back. Cade is out. Our QB1, which I think unfortunately people are very okay with it and like maybe even happy about it. But our QB1 is out because of a concussion. I think Lachey is even banged up. Reese Vandersea will not be available. So, I mean, like, we're starting to feel the effects of the season. Again, this is a injury attrition thing, but you're right. I think we're probably in better shape.
If you do want to play potential look at game, do you know who Wisconsin's got next?
I don't.
Oregon Ducks.
Yeah. It doesn't get easier.
No.
It doesn't get easier.
Yeah, I'm excited though. I do.
Kevin.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind. I can never get it.
I'm going to have to insert Grant into that little soundbite.
Oh no, you can't. This is the thing. You would have to create a completely different one first, and it is still like Ward's winners. You have the alliteration.
Grant's gambling gambit. I don't know.
Yeah, Gambit is, I believe, a Marvel superhero.
Sure. But, oh yeah, I think of you as a superhero.
Oh, that's very flattering of you. But no, I'm not I stand for no Kevin or Drake erasure. I'm here to support.
All I'm here for.
I'm here to support, but ultimately, the show is called Washed Up Walk-Ons, and I have not walked on to anything.
Yeah. Thinking about maybe. Well, we'll talk about that. Might be a rebrand.
No. You're very anti-alliteration today. You're just.
I'm not. I'm just. No. I'm going to start off with Old Faithful. Boise State.
Wow. Oh, hold on. This could pose an issue for you. You see the game time.
It doesn't, but that's the thing. It doesn't pose an issue for me because I don't have to be awake for the bets that I make, right? Like you do. And we talked about that.
I will not apologize.
No, I know you do, but I'm going to take Boise State minus 23. All right. And that's going to be my first bet. I am going to take Penn State plus 3.5.
Okay.
I like that.
I feel like that's going to be that a little more.
I feel like
because that's a big game. People who listen to this podcast probably really care about that one as well.
I've played in a whiteout condition. Not that Ohio State's scared of that. I do recognize that Ryan Day is like 2-6 against top 5 opponents.
What's his record against Penn State though?
Pretty good. And Penn State, Franklin is like 1-8 against Ryan Day or Ohio State in general.
I don't think he's going to beat them.
Yeah, so it's like I saw the joke was like movable object versus
unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Yeah, it was the opposite. Is stoppable force versus movable object. I think it's going to be a great game, and they will just keep it closer to the field goal. It will come down to the end. So I'm going to go Penn State plus 3.5 there.
Can I help you with something before then?
Sure.
You said you played in the whiteout. Are you aware that this is not the whiteout?
Isn't it a night game? It's 11 a.m. Why did I think that was a whiteout?
I believe the whiteout is against Washington this year.
Oh, that's right, because they don't like to schedule whiteouts that they might lose.
No, they started getting deep below 500, and then they started moving again.
Yeah, we got it.
They were
that stadium, regardless, is rowdy. 11 a.m. is obviously the least rowdy it could be, but I think it's still going to be a great home field advantage that matters. Army minus 21.5, and I know it's against Air Force, but Air Force is the clear lesser of the
they're struggling this year.
Academies.
Service academies, yeah.
And we've talked about Army.
I like Army a lot. Bryson Daly is my 5 right now for the Heisman.
Heisman guy. Take me to.
Oh,
there's more.
Do you want to do another tidbit about Army? Did you see this particular game?
Sure.
Did you see that I don't know if Army did it or Air Force did it, but in Air Force's stadium, you can see it from I-25 in Colorado.
Okay.
You're driving south, and you can see it says Air Force in the stands.
Right.
And someone, I don't know if it's even vandalism, but they made it say Chair Force.
Chair
instead.
Force, which is like their dig at Air Force. It's pretty good. I like it. That's good. That's good-hearted, like fun.
Just good old-fashioned rivalry.
Yeah. Do I want to dip into? Wow, I'd really like to dip into Nebraska, but I'm not going to do it.
I'm dipping in. Let's put our head together on it.
No, I'm not going to be a part of that because we'll lose.
Do it. Let's put our heads together on it. What do you mean dipping in? Like I have
-6.5 is just against UCLA at home.
I have the total and a side in that game.
What do you have in the total? Over? Yeah, I like over in that.
Let's put our heads together on
it.
Let's go
do
it together, okay?
Let's go over. It's not just a Nebraska pick. It's a combo UCLA Nebraska pick. We'll go over in Nebraska UCLA, and then my final pick of the weekend is going to be.
Don't let me talk you out of picks, though. By the way, I was hoping we could do.
I told you and Kevin to never let me bet on Nebraska again. But if it's a Nebraska UCLA combo pick, then I'm okay with it. I just want to throw one more on there, and you know what? Let's go to. You were high on South Carolina, weren't you? +2.5.
If we're spoiling it, I have South Carolina +2.5 on the list.
I'm going to take that one as well.
Are we going to put our heads together?
Yeah, we'll put our heads together for that. Let's all
do
win
it together. All right, I love that
win.
pick. I'll add that as well.
And that's going to be that's it for me. I'd love to hear your other picks, but I'm glad we can come together on 2 of them this week.
Okay, sweet. All right, yeah. Starting off, I got FAU +2.5, Arkansas +8. I believe they were playing Ole Miss. I don't get Arkansas. They're my not that bad team right now. Their record is not ideal. I don't think anyone's viewing them as a playoff threat by any means. But hey, I mean they keep getting these bigger numbers like over a touchdown, and they just handle business. Like they're throwing in the statement losses.
Yeah,
and they're hosting in Fayetteville this weekend. I'm going to take them +8. Purdue +1.5. I'm taking it. This might be Purdue's best chance at a win for the rest of the season. So I'm going to take Purdue here. I've been staring at this. This is not me picking it. You talk this through with me real quick. I want to take Michigan so badly against Washington.
I rolled past it +15. And a lot of people are predicting this to be like really tight and like for the I can't do it. You got Dylan Gabriel as a potential Heisman. You've got Oregon as the #1 team in the land. I just don't see Michigan really cutting into that at all this weekend. I mean, they can't throw the ball.
Is it going to be really snowy, or is it going to be really like? There's got to be a reason.
It could be shitty.
All the way down to 15.
It could be shitty weather.
Like Illinois, who housed, I don't know. Housed is probably not a lot. Demolished Michigan.
Right.
Was 25-point underdogs to Oregon, and now Michigan who I think is weaker on offense too, is even less underdogs.
Yeah. Oh man.
After one of their QBs just medically retired this week.
Vegas confuses this shit out of me on a consistent.
Here's the thing I look at as well. I like to on Action Network. I encourage other people to do. You can see like percent of bets.
Yeah,
what's
that's
popular,
fun.
What's not.
Always go against the public.
I think it was like 95% of bets were on Oregon.
Oh no,
it's a crazy amount.
Michigan's going to make this a 1-score ball game somehow.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
We're going to come back. But we're going to come back to this moment in the recap podcast and go, yeah, we knew it.
Michigan wins 35-15. One of the crazier upsets we've seen. But hey, maybe I know there's a Ohio State fan I've talked to a couple times who listens to this. Maybe there's a Michigan fan out there who's like saying, Grant, please don't bet Michigan because then they'll lose. So
you're going to jinx it. Yeah.
Maybe I'm helping them out. I am going to take Michigan State though, +8. Versus Indiana. I think it's going to be a close game.
Could be.
I trust Jonathan Smith. Signetti is the hot, sexy face of the Big Ten right now. I think Jonathan Smith deserves some love, frankly.
I would agree.
And I'm going to give him that love. I'm going to take MSU +8, South Carolina +2.5. We mentioned. A&M we talked about on taglines. I don't know how they got to 35 last week. Marcel Reed, he's a great quarterback, but he threw the ball twice. And I don't know if that's
Somebody actually gave them phantom points, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know if that's going to translate to back-to-back weeks, especially South Carolina has a good defense. They force turnovers a bunch. One dude on their team has 5 picks already this season.
They're 2 reffing calls away from beating, I think, LSU and Alabama, or another big team. I can't remember what the other big team is that they lost to, but like, I think it was Alabama.
Yeah. So I kind of like a little beamer ball. I feel like South Carolina has been the recent to like one just total kick to the groin team. Per year.
Yeah.
Ever since Hendon Hooker, and I think they beat Auburn 2021 in a big game at home. Like going into Columbia has not been a good thing for ranked teams late into November. Syracuse +4. Mini bye. They last played on Thursday. They're playing Virginia Tech at home. I don't think Virginia Tech's that good, and I think everyone saw Cal McCord throw 15 interceptions on Thursday and is now going to go against them. I still believe in you, Cal McCord. I'm taking Cal McCord and Syracuse.
And that's all he needs right there.
Miami -20.5. Washington +2.5 versus USC. Classic Big Ten rivalry. Washington versus USC. I will be taking the Huskies. And again, like I mentioned on taglines, Washington's going to finish the year like 4-8. And I'm going to be like, I like this Jedfish team. Like I just feel like I can't get the taste out of my mouth. I like Washington, dude. I don't know why. This could be pure hater. Texas Tech +13.5 versus Iowa State.
Ooh, okay.
Everyone is going to tell you take Iowa State. You zig, I zag. I'm going Texas Tech +13.5. Nebraska, UCLA over 40.
Love that.
Kluver, Grant combined put our heads together pick.
Yeah.
Even though you took it super last second. But I like us being on the same side. I want us to root for.
I do too. I want us both to win.
Why don't we both win? UCLA +6.5 in that game as well. I'm starting to kind of like what UCLA's doing. I'm seeing things develop.
Well, I don't like that because we have them next week.
I didn't say I think they're better than Iowa.
Okay, all right.
But I think this game is at UCLA, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
I think so. I think.
Okay.
Right.
I like what this spot for UCLA is my point. Arizona +6.5, and then here's my last thing.
Or actually, no, it's at Nebraska. It is at Nebraska.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm taking UCLA +6.5. I really like this spot for Iowa. I really do.
You like the spot. You're a spot.
But I'm so superstitious. I don't want to. I feel like every time I've bet Iowa in my entire career, they lose.
What about the over? Over is like 40.5.
Also, okay. Well, we're taking a timeout. And this is the longest I've ever taken on the betting segment. But if I recall, someone worked really hard for like 25 games straight in a row, losing the over bet to get to this promised land we're at now, where the over hits every game. And I don't know if there's been enough credit.
Is that you? Is that someone you?
Someone might have willed the Iowa over to where it is now by himself.
I think there's only been one under this year.
Yeah, and it was the first game and lost by half, and I was like, we're back to doing this again. I had a buddy who he goes to Army actually. I would get a text from him every week like, surely it's gonna work this time. Like we would just, it's gotta work. Like unprompted, just every week.
I'll be quite honest. If I'm betting over under in this game, I think it's gonna go over.
It's probably low. They're probably used to old, non-explosive Iowa offense. But yeah. Hey, that's where we are. I don't know. I like it, but I'm gonna be superstitious, and I don't want to.
Like that.
And I'd rather, like the system right now with what we got, where if I know that I'm not playing into karma,
sure,
by betting Iowa, so I'm just gonna leave it off. But I will say I like it. So that's my picks. That's the longest I've ever taken on it. I'm sorry.
You zig, I zag, straight from the mouth of Grant Allen. There's nothing better.
I'm gonna just put my faith in the Red Raiders.
He always comes through in the betting segment. Ward's winners, even though Kevin didn't show his ass up here tonight. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us for the Wisconsin.
We're not gonna read Kevin's picks. I thought.
Fuck that guy. What's his picks?
Hold on. Whoa. All right. He's gonna listen back to this tape. All right, good. Kevin, we love you. All right. You take your time selling ankles. Okay. Under. Illinois, Minnesota, 45.5. I also like that play, if we're just being totally honest. But under Ohio State, Penn State, 45.5. Another kind of like it. And then he took Oregon -14.5.
Wow. And
so maybe it's again, I want us to win together. So maybe it's a good thing we're not taking Michigan.
I would agree. Those are Kevin's picks, and Grant will have that out. You guys can bet on it or not. But thank you for joining us.
For the people, I do have Western Kentucky right now. It's in the second quarter, but it's not on. It's not going to be on the graphic, but we are transparent.
But you're behind them, as always. JMU Western Kentucky podcast, Western
Iowa Western
Iowa Western podcast. We're Reaver podcast.
Northwestern Iowa. And
I wouldn't throw them on there, not yet.
Shut up.
We're happy to be joined by all the listeners, though. Thank you guys so much. Check out the Patreon, Walk On Army. Join it right there on the QR code on the screen. Also, this spooky, you can go to the Walk On store with that QR code right there. Christmas is coming up. We have several new designs. I haven't even showed the boys yet, but we got a couple new designs coming down the pipe. A little Christmas Goat Wallace. Oh, what? It's going to be a fun time around the holidays with the walk-ons and everything we're doing here. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. We're going to have that bowl on Monday. See you then. Peace.